Good evening.
Mm,
Namo Midabutsu.
namumidebe, namanda. Mm.
Very good to see you again,
Likewise,
as always.
every time I think of you said this in a video long before I ever met you, but it's like that, trying to get the last bow in,
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
Nembutsus,
yeah. It's like the sort of the
right?
this sort
Yeah.
of Japanese culture of who can bow the lowest and last, and yeah, if it's yeah, I asked Kyokan that if there was this a kind of similar thing going on with the Nemetsu. Anyways, you are frozen now, unfortunately. Can you hear me? I think we have to do this one maybe off camera for a bit until the connection is better. So shall we get right to it? Shall I share my screen? Is there anything you wanted to
Yes.
say, continuing our Chakravartin series? Is there anything you want to
No,
say
let's
before we start? Yeah,
just get stuck
dive
in.
dive right in. All right, cool. I shall share my screen. Bear with me a moment. I think it's probably, where is it? I think that's the one. Uh, yes, can you see the list?
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing I want to say really quickly about this entire list so far,
Mm.
and I think we've kind of been alluding to it a bit, but like when we were talking about the physical attributes, last time, um, I think there's um, for, things like the area below the armpits well filled, like we talked about, maybe that was kind of like the V shaped,
Mm, mm,
musculature of
mm,
a
mm,
of
mm.
a a strong, you know being, you know what I mean, or stature, and the full rounded shoulders, again, muscular, full, strong stature, 40 teeth. We talked about that, just all these physical attributes. There's also, I'm sure, sort of corresponding kind of um, meaning to it, as there always is in Buddhism,
Mm,
multiple
mm,
levels
mm,
of
mm.
meaning to it all. So just the lion-shaped body, physically, but also that's the stature, the presence of the person. Do you know what I mean?
Mm, mm, mm,
Um,
mm, mm.
Body erect and upright. So not just the body, but that's referring to, you know, the their stature, their spiritual, moral, meritorious, stature on that level is erect and upright. Do you see what I mean? Um,
Right, and
it's
and then
just,
also, sorry, I know you're making a general point,
yeah,
but I just
yeah,
think now with regard to that one, there's this kind of symbolism of a straight spine, sort of, being upright, pointing upward, this is sort
yes,
of towards the transcendent,
yeah,
right? Like, I mean,
yeah,
what's like we talk always about there's this like perennial symbol of what transcends our plane of existence as being above us, like literally
mm,
above us, right? So
mm,
that's what's pointed to by the uprightness and
yeah.
maybe even by the last point on this list, but I'm getting ahead of us.
Well,
Um,
you, as soon as you said that, it made me immediately think of the proper, like the perfect posture in meditation.
mm, mm.
That they would just naturally have. Do you know what I mean? Even if they're just walking around doing anything, they would have this naturally meditative posture, about them. Anyway,
Which
so
actually,
yeah,
you say that it makes me think sort of introspectively, like, I don't know about you, but I went through that phase of sort of trying the Zen meditation and various other forms of Buddhist meditation, and my back hurts sitting like that, and people always tell me that that's like sort of the natural neutral position of the spine,
mm,
but it hurts back, right? And maybe that's sort of maybe that's that maybe there's something in that about my kind of intractable bamboo nature, right? Like I
yeah,
can't even
yeah,
sit,
exactly. I was
right?
thinking the same thing as you were saying it. Yeah, yeah. So it says something about our karmic situation as bamboo, um, that that posture isn't natural for us. and causes strain and pain, um, whereas for a extraordinary being, an enlightened being, or it would be, that's just the natural way of things, kind of thing.
Mm,
Or an
mm, mm.
advanced kind of practitioner, it would be quite natural, So, um, and the other ones we did. So I just wanted to mention that about the body stuff, the lion-shaped body, the body erect and upright, the full round shoulders, because we did go into with the other things, it really referring to other, like 40,
Mm.
40, teeth. You know, so it's just like that's like a completeness number. And also we talked about that, maybe, we looked at, we did a little AI search and it might reference something about meditation, 40, you know, something in
Mm, mm, mm,
meditation, but
mm, mm.
also we talked about that's eight more teeth than the average person. So we thought we kind of said, I kind of said, well, maybe it's, eight more wisdom teeth than, more wisdom. There's more wisdom in the mouth of a Buddha, in the life of a Chakravartin. Um, and the same when we talking about the teeth white, even and close. We talked about, in 4K19 pure white. Um, we did talk about the pure speech, the perfect, pure, uh, speech of a pristine speech of a Chakravartin or a Buddha, when they speak. So we did, but
I'm
I didn't remember if we had, with the musculature and the stature of the body, if we had kind of emphasized that or not. So yeah, just
I
wanted to
think we
come back to
touched
it.
on it, but
Yeah,
we didn't
yeah,
emphasize it.
like we did the
Um,
other areas. Yeah,
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
dual or multiple meanings kind of thing. So
You know,
did
something
we
occurred to me.
go ahead?
But the eight teeth, and I'm almost certainly overthinking this, right? But maybe there's something about the eightfold path, because that's the only number eight in Buddhism that immediately occurs to me, right? I mean,
Yes.
mouth, it
Yeah.
comes out the
Yeah.
mouth, that's where it's built from. So
Interesting.
maybe
Yeah.
um or maybe I'm overthinking things.
No, no, I think it's possible. I think it's possible with these things. So yeah, so um did we get to the jaw like a lion, saliva that do
We
you
were
remember
on
where we
29. We got
29.
cut off.
Okay, we thought we got, yeah. So
Yeah,
the
and I
deep
was
blue eyes. Yeah, we had a cliffhanger because I mentioned, it made me think of the Fremen from Dune.
mm.
So 29, the eyes deep blue, and then we were talking about quite a lot of other things where there's the deep blue eyes. But that we got cut off then, and what I was going to say about the Fremen. We talked about, I think I mentioned how Buddhism we discussed how Buddhism is quite, was obviously an influence on Frank Herbert, as he
Mm.
incorporated it quite a bit into the other religions, in a synchronistic way, but it was still, it was like that was the running theme, if you see what I mean. Like all of them they were Buddhified in some way, rather
Mm.
than,
Mm.
do you see what I mean? There was
Mhm,
no
mhm.
other, there wasn't like Chrislam, or in
Right,
Frank Herbert's
right,
books, or it was Buddhism, and you know what I mean, Mahayana Christianity, or it was always the Buddhist element got synchronized into the other religion, not the other, not other
right.
religions doing that with each other, which I thought was interesting, to the specific religions that were mentioned for the most part. So, but anyway, the reason I raise that is because that there's a real spiritual kind of symbolism of those eyes. Do you know what I mean? The deep
Mhm,
blue
mhm,
eyes.
mhm.
And I think there is something universal about that. Um, something archetypical about the deep blue, eyes. And anyway, yeah. So go ahead.
I remember the reason I remember this is the one we were at is because I wanted to make this point, and right then we got cut off. So I
Yeah.
thought I'm going to keep that for next time. And I'm sure you've seen the David Lynch version of
Yes.
Dune.
Yes.
Not the
Yes.
new one, but
Yeah.
And there's this scene there. It might be in one of the special editions actually, but yeah, I'm that kind of nerd. But there's this scene where I can't remember what character's talking, but it's one of the Fremen, or maybe it's Paul. But they focus in on the blue, they pull in tight on the blue eyes, and then you can see like the ocean is superimposed, the blue ocean on the eyes.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, like you say, I don't know if it's in the actual cinematic version, but it's somewhere. It's definitely in there somewhere. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah, and
kind of
exactly. I can't
referenced.
remember. I can't
The
even remember the
oceanic,
context.
the oceanic kind of nuance, the oceanic, the meaning of that word, something oceanic is something sort of all surpassing and all encompassing and all, do you know what I mean? Anyway,
Yeah, it's this like the ocean. I mean, the ocean's obviously blue. I mean, I guess green maybe, but like
yeah,
blue, right? That's
yeah,
that's how you
yeah, that's the, yeah,
right?
the deep
And
blue
and
sea and all of that. Yeah. So,
exactly. There's a photo of the ocean on the wall right in front of me, and it's blue in that one, so I'm gonna go with that. And it's yeah, and it's got this sort of symbolic quality of the infinite, like Shinron Shonen uses that in the Kyoga Shinsho over and over and over, right? Like the sea is this symbol of or the ocean is this symbol of like the infinite and the incomprehensibly expansive, right?
mm, mm,
And the other sort of universals or kind of not maybe not universal, but like the other symbol we see of that recurring around the world of the infinite is the sky, right? Which is also
mm,
blue,
mm-hmm.
right? Because
Yep,
the
yep,
region and like there's a
exactly.
number of languages where the word for God and heaven and sky are all the same.
Mm, yes,
So
yes,
Chinese
definitely.
Tian, but also I think in the Mongol
I was going to
and sort
say
of
Tian. Yeah, I was going
yeah,
to say,
exactly.
especially in Chinese, you know,
Mm. So this
prehistory and history and linguistics and things. Yeah, Tian is, yeah.
and
Anyway, go ahead.
so you have this like the blue being associated with this double symbolism
Hmm.
of the infinite, right? And that in the eyes, it's like he and that's where sort of that image from Dune came to me is like he beholds the infinite, right? In this like really direct way in
Hmm.
his eyes.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's a symbolism that sort of jumps out to me with the eyes deep blue, right? Like it's
Yes,
in there, he sees it.
yes. Sees beyond all worlds. He sees in the, in beyond the 10 directions, in all
Mm-hmm.
directions, and all the truth.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, yeah, so that's just yeah, that's
Yeah,
I don't know.
no, no,
The
fantastic. Yeah, no, great,
deep.
great. Um, there's something else that occurred to me as you were talking, but I shifted into just listening, and now I can't. I don't think I'm going to be able to retrieve it. I might come back to me. Um, yeah, no, I can't remember it now. So, shall we go on to the next three
It's
then? Was there anything else on that one you wanted to cover?
actually yeah, because now I've forgotten because we had right at the beginning of the list it was about the hair, but I can't remember if it said the hair was blue or not because you always see that on Buddhist statues, right? Like
Let's see. What does it say about the hair? Hair, every hair root dark colored. But I mean, who knows what the
mm,
translation of this is? You know what I mean?
mm.
Um, so there could be, if there, if we, I bet if we looked at other listings of it, there could be a reference to the actual color somewhere.
It's interesting that it doesn't seem to talk about that on this list because to
Mm.
me that's like the most
Well,
immediately
well, there,
recognizable feature on a Buddha, right? Is the
yeah.
hair.
Mm. And there's, what it just occurred to me now too was the blue is often associated not only with royalty but with a spiritual being in especially
Mm.
in South Asian um,
Mm.
sort of spirituality and religions,
Yeah,
the
like Krishna.
the Krishna and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and other beings. So yeah,
Fascinating.
shall we look? What's the note say here? Oh, it's just noting it's just the reference. Anyway, shall we go to the next one then? Eyelashes like a royal bull. Interesting. Do you know what that's about? Yeah, eyelashes like a royal bull. I'm saying, do you know what eyes like a, what that's kind of all about?
Or
Eyes,
honestly, and this is
eyelashes like a eyelashes like a royal bull. So I was kind of looking that up.
this is going to be awful, but it just makes me think of Ferdinand. Although,
Yeah.
I mean, I
So
suppose he has some
yeah, I
Buddhist.
guess
He's a pacifist.
he's what? Sorry, say it again.
He's Ferdinand doesn't want to fight. He just wants to smell
Okay.
the flowers.
Yeah, yeah.
Sit under the tree,
There's
right? Wants to sit
yeah.
under a tree,
Sit under the tree.
and
Sit under the tree. The very thing,
so
right? The Bodhi
and
tree,
harm no
right?
ones. Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
maybe, yeah. I mean, so they must be quite, very perfect eyelashes. I'm picturing. Um, let's see what this says. Let's see what's this. Tales of Times Forgotten. Let's see if we can find something really quickly. If not, we'll just kind of move on or speculate a bit more. But um, let's see if it says. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna do a Control F. Eyelashes. No, it just lists it like the. Oh, there's no. Yeah, never mind. So we'll just. I think we'll just carry on.
One thing does
Yeah.
occur, which
No, I
is
mean to carry on our discussion about it.
oh
I
right,
mean,
right, right,
didn't
right.
mean move off. Yeah. So I just think I'm thinking they're just going to be like something like eyelashes. It's a thing. It's obviously an aesthetic. If the eyelashes look, attractive and you know what I mean, that there's an aesthetic there. Something about and the thinking of the purpose of the eyelashes kind of it's a a protection for the eye in some way. Um, but I'm just trying to like a royal bull. Does that mean long, full eyelashes, or what does that mean?
I mean, to me, so when I look at a cow, they have these very thick eyelashes, right?
Yeah.
And that makes me think, one, so you're like you just said, the eyelashes, the purpose is to keep, motes and dirt and that out of your eyes. So, that he's always clear-sighted. I mean, in a metaphorical sense of maybe both a physical and a metaphorical sense, of seeing the truth at all times. There's no sort of, there's no
Mm.
blind path getting in the way there. His eyelashes
Hmm.
keep him out. And
Hmm.
but the other thing
Makes
occurs,
sense. Makes sense.
a royal bull, that's like this, to me anyway, that seems like something very fearsome and intimidating and powerful. But the eyelashes are just very sort of on a bull, right? They're still very sort of um feminine or soft or gentle, right? So it's this kind of uh, having that sort of gentleness within power. Um, I mean
Yes.
that's just right.
Yeah. 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 I think so. I think you're on to something there. I was just
Now,
trying to see if I could maybe grasp maybe a cultural reference to that. So I brought up Royal Bull India.
I don't know when the cow protection in Hinduism did that come after Shakyamuni or when did that
I
start?
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines. I was thinking, about the how the cow is, is considered sacred, and yeah, I really don't know. I don't know enough about that and whether that it's referencing that in some way. Um,
I mean, it's the temptation is to assume that, right?
hmm.
Um, but maybe not.
I mean, looking at these images of what is considered like a royal bull, they're quite magnificent. You know, kind of these
Mm,
pictures here,
mm,
of
mm.
what, is considered a quite, you know, um, magnificent. I wonder if we can, let's see if we can, let's do it that way. Oh, bull India.
I mean, I'm looking at the Wikipedia for cow protection,
Uh-huh.
and like at least some precedent for that seems to go back well before
Yeah.
Shakyamuni.
So perhaps it's kind of referencing that as well.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
yeah.
so I was just looking. I mean, that's quite. If that's what that's supposed to be referring to. But anyway, yeah, interesting. Interesting. Right. Any other thoughts on that one? That's all.
Um, no, that's
Hmm. Yeah.
unfortunately that's all I can think of.
All right. So white Urna curl that emits light between the eyes. White Urna curl.
I've always liked this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a hair, like a curled hair, because
Mm.
it's mentioned in the larger sutra, and it's you rarely see it in paintings or statues of the Buddha sometimes, but it's pretty unusual. Um, and I've always wondered what the significance of that was.
Yeah. Let's see. White Urna curl. No. Let's see. Buddhism. Let's try. Ah. Let's have a look here. What have we here? The
So that does
Baya.
say white. The
Sorry.
kanji say the kanji says white hair.
White hair. The kanji for this word, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
is white hair.
White hair.
And this is a temple in Nara, Japan. Number of wooden. Hmm. The book. Here we go. The Baya Kugo. Is that? Did I pronounce that even remotely
Well, I
close?
don't speak Japanese, so
Yeah. Okay. Or Urna is the curl of white hair between the eyebrows. That is one of the third. Yeah, they're both telling us what we're kind of going over. I'll just see if there's anything. No, nothing. So it's so a curl of white hair between the eyebrows. So I mean when it said that emits the light, it makes you think of that, the third eye. Um,
mm,
you know,
mm,
that and then, and it sort of makes sense the emitting that light from, um
mm,
sort of um transmitting the wisdom, transmitting the Dharma, transmitting wisdom to all beings, kind of thing,
mm.
or something like that.
Yeah, it would be. I've just looked
See
on
if there's anything
I
else
mean,
that we can go ahead.
Wikipedia. It's Wikipedia and it's not sourced, so
Oh,
that's
right. Okay.
but so with that big sort of chunk of salt attached. It says Buddhists regard the third eye as the eye of consciousness, representing the vantage point from which enlightenment beyond one's physical sight is achieved, and use an urna to the same effect as Hindus. So, what does that mean?
Hmm.
Um, but it does seem that so maybe there's some connection between the third eye and the
Hmm.
urna. Don't know how to
That's
pronounce
kind
that.
of what I'm thinking. Yeah, there's a sort of illustration of it, I guess. There we go.
Mm,
Trying to get in a picture, a depiction of it. I just pictured it like this, that
mm.
there's that, kind of, you know, um, area between the eyes
Like,
that is always, it's always there. It's that sort of circle
mm,
or oval, or you know what I mean, circular, ovular, kind of. I always just thought that was kind of like the third eye kind of thing,
mm.
but it's actually a tuft of hair, white hair, emitting the light, which I just never really knew that, which is interesting. I've never looked that closely at the actual 32 marks before. So Anything else did you want to say about that?
No, I think did I say it's mentioned in the I think I did say that. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's mentioned in the larger sutra. So
Yeah. Well, there you go.
yeah.
There it is. Ties it
I think
right into
or maybe
our Pure Land texts,
sorry, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
sutras.
it's mentioned in the meditation sutra as one of the visualizations.
Hmm.
It might be mentioned in both, of course, but actually I think it's
Yeah.
also or instead in the contemplation sutra. But
I
anyway,
can't remember offhand,
um,
unfortunately. Are you trying to look it up to see?
no, it's just
Oh,
one
okay.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right.
no.
So
So
shall we go to the next one then?
yes,
And
yes.
the last. So fleshly protuberance on the crown of the head. Interesting. Fleshly protuberance on the crown of the head.
Would you
Let's
see
see.
that?
Is
I
that
have,
the Buddha?
it's another one of those things that sometimes they
There we
include in
go. Is
statues.
that That's what it's Ushina. Let's see if we go to got 10 minutes. Getting the 10-minute. I mean, let's see if we can see if there's a Buddhist encyclopedia that's
There's quite a famous
Tibetan
image
Tibetan
of
encyclopedia. That can be
mm, mm, mm.
a mix sometimes. This one, it doesn't really. We'll just go to the Wikipedia for the sake of time here. Go back up to the yeah, there we go. So is that kind of talking about the the Ushnisha is a three-dimensional oval on the top of the head. So I always thought that was like a a hair bun, but it's an actual feature.
So
Are you
there's a famous image of Amida that the oh what are they the Shandao the Chinese Shandao I don't know what the word like lineage uh school
yeah,
you
yeah,
know yeah
yeah.
so
Mhm.
there's like they have like a standard image they use um and when you look at that one there's the you can see the fleshy protuberance I can't pronounce that word either that the Ushinsha that's easier the
Mm,
Ushinsha is quite like prominent in that but then he's
mm,
also hair bun
hmm.
behind so I think they're two different things or at least it looks that way in this image.
Hair bun behind it, you said.
Yeah.
So do you want to share it? Do you have it? Did
Um,
you bring it up or
no,
do you?
I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe if we Google image just
Yeah.
Amitabha Buddha.
So yeah. Let's see. So this one, yeah, there's a look at that. The red, let's go with the red Buddha. There's like the hair bun, and then there's this. Oh, no, maybe that's not what you were.
It's not oh it's coming up with all the maybe add Shandao to that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah. Oh, that didn't help. Um
I mean, it does look like there's more than just beyond the hair bun. There's this, in all of these, there's like this, there's the hair bun, and then there's this other
mm.
protuberance. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
that's what it's referencing. Interesting. Do you see what I mean? So there's something else going on there. Previously I would have just thought that was like another auspicious adornment, on the on top of the hair bun, but that might be, and you know what I mean. This this what's it? What's the word? Ush 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 nisha ushnisha that it's talking about. I wish I could find that actual. So look at these. What about this? Does this? Do you see that there? Are you with me? I think I've lost Johan again. I'll bring him back in to our meeting in just a moment. You know, this is again the Gunkai channel, unscripted, teleprompter free, unrehearsed. Bear with me a moment while I bring Johan back in. Wow, he's well and truly gone this time. Bear with a moment. But while I'm waiting, I'm looking at this kind of object here, and I wonder if that's a more obvious figure of what the Ushnisha is. An obvious depiction of what the Ushnisha is. Yeah, doesn't seem to be coming back to us. Try again. So I wonder if that's a more, yeah, that's definitely Amitabha Buddha. So that might be a more, there we go. He's back. Let him in. Hello. Hello again. You're back.
I do apologize. I figured out what I had my VPN on, and I think that was
Causing an issue. So shall we try to go on camera? Well, at this point, it's
uh,
kind of moot. We
yeah.
could,
Well, it's up to
yeah,
you.
yeah. Look, I found this image,
Right.
and do you see this? It's definitely
Hmm.
says
Hmm.
Abhitaba. There's this very obvious
Hmm.
protuberance from the head. I wonder if that is a. Do you see what I mean? A more obvious
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
depiction of it. There's another one. This is much more sort of all of these. Do you see what I mean? In the Tibetan
Yeah.
Vajrayana depiction of Amitabha. Do you see what I mean? I wonder if that is what it's. And here's another one. I love Vajrayana and Tibetan art. It's just fantastic. I love everything about Vajrayana, actually. Anyway, so yeah, there you go. Um, so let's
Oh,
see it.
I found the image.
Oh, okay. Let me let
How
you
do I?
share. Hold on. I'm gonna bear with me a sec. I'm gonna allow multiple participants to share. So let me stop sharing and you go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. How do
And we'll
I?
come back to
I'm.
we don't have much longer. So yeah, we're coming down. Oh, we have we have like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes left. So
Okay. Let's wind it up. So, do
yeah,
you see what I'm? Yes. So there, it's not a very good
yes,
image because you have
yeah,
a
I
like
can see
a
it.
light
Yeah.
color background, but it's like you can see there's a fleshy protuberance, and
Yep.
then behind that there's the hair, and then there's also this one, which is not the one I was thinking of,
Hmm.
but you can see
But you
two
can
over
see
there.
the two different things. Yeah, there's two.
Exactly.
I never noticed that before. I always just didn't think of it as two different things. I thought, well, I did. I thought it was just an ornament. I just thought it was just another auspicious. You know what I mean? Sort
Yeah,
of.
well, yeah, and here it's quite clear also that there are two
Yeah,
different things.
very clear.
Um,
Yeah, there's
and
two
I
different
think
things
maybe
going
it's
on.
because sometimes they get conflated, so it's not always clear in every single image that
Hmm.
there are two. So that yeah, that's probably
That's it. Yeah. Shall we go
uh,
back to the Ushnisha? Do you want to stop
yes.
sharing and I'll share again?
Yes,
And
stop share.
we'll quickly go and see what else we can find from that page on the Ushnisha, just to discuss it a bit. So yeah, Ushnisha. So this okay. So three-dimensional oval on the top of the head. In Pali scriptures, it is the crown of the Buddha, the symbol of his enlightenment and enthronement. That's interesting. So it's got
Mm.
both, the king, well, in
Hmm.
this case, it would be the Dharma king, but you see what I mean? He's got the king, it's got both because these 32 marks apply both to the Chakravartin, could be a Chakravartin or it could be a Buddha. And
Mm.
this kind of has both, both
Mm.
are
Mm.
are symbolized by the Ushnisha, both the enlightenment and the enthronement. So that's
Mm.
kind of
Mm.
interesting. The Ushnisha is the 32nd of the 32 major marks. Oh, 1 minute. The 32nd is cranial. Let's just see if there's any. Well, maybe we'll leave this as a cliffhanger. We'll go into this some more
Yeah,
for
we'll deal with it.
next time. Yeah, we'll go all
The
into
final
this.
one.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's kind of appropriate. So we'll leave that
No.
cliffhanger until next time. So Namo
Yep.
Amida Butsu. Shall we do some quick
Namo
Nambutsu
Buddhist.
to take us as
Yes, yes.
Namo Amida Butsu?
Namo
Namo
Buddhist.
Amida
Namo
Butsu. Namo Amida
Namo
Butsu.
Namo.
Namandava. Nam.